Hey Bob, I remember a time when streaming services were going to replace cable, reduce costs for households, and be an overall better user experience. Whatever happened to that? Every month, I sit down and review my expenses, and like many of you, I get really frustrated with how much I spend on subscriptions. But what even is a subscription anymore? Like, at one point, I never considered my internet or cell phone a subscription. More like a utility bill, because if they're subscriptions, that is my power or my water. Is my annual credit card fee a subscription? I don't know. And being a technology guy, I subscribe to a number of services like Grammarly, 1Password, Amazon Prime, Google Premium, Parcel, and Carrot Weather. All of these I pay for annually, which helps me ignore the cost while also saving me a bit of money because I do use these services all the time and actually quite like them. Then there are the services that I subscribe to on an as-needed basis, either for work or for entertainment, like ChatGPT Plus, Descript, 11 Labs, Paramount Plus, Audible, and CBC Gem. Then there are the subscriptions which I get for free from either friends or work, like Zoom, Microsoft 365, Netflix, Disney Plus, and Crave. Oh my god, there are so many. But one service I actually recently canceled was my Apple One Premier bundle. I know, I failed my fruit stand parish. I'm sorry. While my family does use Apple Music and more than 200 gigabytes of iCloud space, we never use Apple News Plus or Apple Arcade. I love Apple Fitness Plus. I use it probably 4 to 5 times a week. Not that anyone can tell.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
But there's an annual plan for 100 Canadian dollars, essentially giving me 4 months for free. Then there's Apple TV Plus, a service I do quite like, but it's slow to roll out content. And it's $13 freaking dollars a month. Don't get me wrong, I love Severance, but thanks to the writer's strike, it only recently re-entered production. And with Ted Lasso cancelled, I don't know what to watch. Look, I'm willing to defend Apple TV Plus's lack of overall content. I think for most people who only watch like an episode a night, can really appreciate Apple's focus on incredible quality. After all, Apple TV Plus content is 4K, Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision, and features some of the best talent money can buy. I didn't know I loved Octavia Spencer until Apple TV Plus. But despite great content on Apple TV Plus, I've watched what I wanted to watch, leaving me to fall back on the type of shows I enjoy passively watching, which are cheap comedies and Star Wars. Small note, I wrote this before recording, obviously, and Netflix recently kicked me out of my friend's account. So I guess I need to subscribe to Netflix if I want to watch a shitty comedy. Leaving me to decide it's not really worth having an Apple One Premier bundle, and to instead just subscribe to the 2TB iCloud plan, Apple Music for families, and Apple Fitness Plus, but on the annual plan, saving me around $7-ish a month after tax. And if season 2 of Severance ever comes out, I'll resubscribe for a month and just binge it. And don't get me started on the ads. Netflix is discontinuing their lowest cost ad-free tier. Disney Plus, once marketed as a premium ad-free experience, now has an ad plan. And Amazon wants to charge me an extra $3 a bloody month or watch ads for a service I've been paying for nearly a decade for? What the heck? Who even watches Prime Video? It's terrible. The UI is trash, the content catalog is awful, and not one person has ever said,
"Honey, let's subscribe to that Prime Video service, and then maybe we'll try that free package delivery thing."
People say, well, maybe I'll check out that mediocre streaming service that I get with the company that delivers my bloody dog food and powers half the internet. I hate ads, so by default, I only want to pay for an ad-free experience. I pay CBC Gem $5 a month to binge watch Dragon's Den just to avoid ad breaks. Although every time you cancel, they'll actually send you a little promo that says, hey, you can resubscribe for it was 4 months for $1. I recently got 6 months for $1 a month. So the Canadian broadcaster wants my money that bad? Here's $6 CBC. Thanks. Whenever I go to my mother's and see TV commercials, I'm confused because thanks to YouTube Premium and leaving social media networks, I haven't seen regular ads in years. In fact, the odd time that I go on Facebook to check out Marketplace, I want to vomit at the amount of endless ads that I see. I don't even like social media. With that said, if you don't mind ads and are trying to mitigate rising prices because they aren't going down, moving to an ad-supported plan may not be a bad deal for you. Maybe you can buy a pillow or a car or whatever is being advertised nowadays. But what I don't care for are services like Prime Video that degrade the experience with ads and just expect you to keep paying the same price. I'll never watch Prime Video again. I barely used it before, but I watched Red, White, and Royal Blue. 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 You're saying that 10 times fast. I mean, I never really used it before, but I watched Red, white, and royal blue. That wasn't terrible. But why would I want to suffer through ads when I can just watch one of the many other streaming services that exist? The streaming wars is not over, and there are still many losers to go. So if streaming services aren't less expensive than cable, and they are now equally riddled with ads, then are they better in any way? I think so. Yeah. Got something in my eye. Streaming services are certainly more convenient. You can stream whatever you want, whenever you want, pending you have the service for it. And if you want to be cost sensitive, subscribe to a service for a month or so, binge what you want to see, and then cancel it and subscribe to another. I do that like twice a year with Paramount Plus. And, pro tip, use this magical app called Reminders to remind you to cancel before the free trial ends. Or, if you're subscribing after your free trial, just cancel as soon as you subscribe. Because they want your money, so they won't actually cancel your subscription until the end of your billing period. So you get a whole month, and you don't have to worry about that auto-renew. Really handy, see? Smart boy right here. These tips just help to keep costs in check and avoiding that whole I forgot thing. Don't forget that streaming also lets you pause, rewind, and skip. You can watch content on essentially any device and even save content offline to watch when you don't have an internet connection. So there are so many reasons why streaming has its advantages. Plus, you don't need to wait for that whole 9 to 5 thing for a technician to come and install a cable box. That's nice. I know that there are still plenty of people who are upset about some shows and movies being removed from services or not being released altogether as a financial maneuver, but I don't believe that that's really unique to streaming. Sure, I absolutely would much rather that content be available all the time on the appropriate streaming service. I think that more content makes sense. But with cable, once a show comes off the air, you might never be able to watch it again unless it gets a digital or physical release. Streaming services have really given us a whole bunch of back catalog that was almost completely inaccessible for most people. I think, in large part, the rise of streaming services and content catalogs is why we're seeing a wave of nostalgia for shows that we used to watch as kids. That, and the fact that we're young adults with disposable income now, so that probably helps. The reality is, when Netflix was the only streaming service in town, it was fairly easy for the service to get fairly cheap licensing rights to stream existing content. Now, every service either hoards their IP or can charge an incredibly high price to license it because there's so much competition. There's also more competition for creating and acquiring content. Big tech like Apple and Amazon are bidding up movies and TV shows, which is great for creators, but that price gets trickled down back to us as customers. From what I can recall, Netflix is the only profitable streaming service. Everyone else is losing money in the hopes that they can scale to hopefully outcompete Netflix. The challenge here is that Netflix has a ton of brand recognition. I mean, they're the incumbent. They have been streaming content forever. They dominate the playing field. And Wall Street wants to see profits right now, creating a lot of stress for services like Prime Video, Disney Plus, and Paramount Plus, which are costing their parent companies billions of dollars a year. Regardless, cable TV is on the decline, and streaming will presumably win out at some point. I mean, do you even own cable? I certainly haven't for years. I think we'll see more customers hopping between services every month to help keep household costs down, resulting in higher churn and lower average revenue per user for individual streaming services. I think we'll also see fewer streaming services going forward. Services that are backed by big tech like Apple TV Plus and Prime Video are probably pretty safe as long as these companies continue to view the cost to float these services either as a loss leader or until profitability is achieved, if ever. Brands like Netflix and Disney are likely pretty safe with their massive library of content and overall brand recognition. Then, we'll probably see services like Paramount Plus, Discovery Plus, and maybe even CBC Gem just shut down and lease their content. HBO and Showtime already does this internationally. Here in Canada, that content is leased by Bell Media and operates on a service called Crave instead of Max. CBC also licenses a number of their shows to Netflix already, so I don't believe this is really a stretch of a guess. I'll admit, this wasn't an overly well-researched or in-depth analysis video, and it isn't really meant to be. I'm just a guy trying to make content, and I'm equally as exhausted and frustrated with streaming services just like you. And that's ignoring the wider subscriptification of not just digital services, but also freaking physical goods. Why do I need socks every month? Leave me alone! If you're interested, I wrote 2 articles on subscription services for Mobile Syrup, including everything you need to know about streaming services in Canada, and subscription services are here to stay, whether you like it or not. Links are in the video's description. I want to say thank you to everyone who took some time to comment on my previous video on malware and share their feedback to help me improve. I'm still trying to find the flow for this channel and the structure of my videos, even the lighting in my bloody studio. If you like what I'm doing or have any suggestions, throw your thoughts in the comments below. I really do appreciate it. Comments fuel the YouTube gods. Like, subscribe, press the bell icon, do all the things, and I'll see you creative people next week. Bye-bye.